Welcome back to the Laravel News Community Spotlight Series. With us today is Andrew Schmelyun, and I think I just pronounced the last name wrong after I've said it three times in a row before we started this. So Andrew, for those that don't know you, do you want to just kind of jump in and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, my name is Andrew Schmelyun. I brand myself as a full stack developer, full stack engineer. Been with PHP and the Laravel scene for about the last 10 years. I've been working with this. I'm a self-taught developer. I've been working in websites and the PHP ecosystem in general for the last 14 years. Self-taught, worked my way up from digital agencies. Now I work with a couple different product companies. On the side, I create content around PHP, Laravel, Vue, and Docker. And excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. And you probably have the biggest TikTok video with the most views ever for a PHP guy, right? Wasn't it the printer or something you did that has like millions of views now?
So I have my GitHub receipt printer that has a ton of views. Behind me, I don't know if you can see it, there's a rotary phone I turned into a mechanical keyboard that also got a decent amount of views. But the one that has like the one that got insanely viral for almost, I don't understand the reason for it, was that PHP is a weird language. And it was just because I showed how you can essentially create like a pointer in PHP by having a variable call the value from itself with another $sign, and that has like hundreds of thousands of views. It blew up for absolutely no reason, like a video I threw together in 5 minutes. But the internet.
Yeah, that's what always surprises me too. Is I've been trying to kind of move more Laravel news content onto like the reels, and like TikTok, I can't get any traction, it seems like, but for whatever reason, Instagram's been pretty good to me. And but it's so random. Like I had a clip of Matt Stauffer from one of the other creator series, and it's got like 130,000 views on it. It's just like a 30-second clip of him talking about a CSS feature. It's like, how does that many people care about this on Instagram? So it's wild.
It's crazy what gets latched on. It's wild.
Yeah, and it's always the random ones. It's like the ones you spend like 3 hours editing, or like they get like 100 views, and the ones you just throw up instantly, it's like boom. It's
exactly.
Here's 100,000 views.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny. So I got you on here today. I know you said you've been using Laravel for like 10 years now. So I guess 10 years ago, what was that? Laravel 4.3 maybe?
Yeah. I think I started with 4, 4.2 or 4.3. I got started with Jeffrey Way's Laravel 4 from scratch series is free on Laracast, and that's what got me into the framework. I was working at a digital agency, and they're like, we need something more powerful than WordPress. We're building a custom app for somebody. So it was between Laravel, Cake, and CodeIgniter, I think at the time.
Yeah.
And
Laravel, was Fuel in there?
Yeah, it might have been like mentioned like once or twice, but those are the top 3 that I kept seeing like a recurring basis. And I'm like, oh, well, Laravel has the best documentation. I can actually wrap my head around this. It's not like super duper low level. And so, yeah, just that stuck.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, it's always great to hear stories. It seems like right around that 4 release, like a lot of people found Laravel, and those that have found it, seems like they've stuck with it the entire time. So it's kind of amazing how that, it was like that was like the catalyst for, like 4 was the big thing, which is kind of cool. So your recent project, so you're actually building a framework for publishing video courses. Did I get that right?
Yeah. So I create and release video courses. I have 2 so far that I've created. The first one I did 4 years ago, which was developing and deploying Laravel applications with Docker. And then I just released one this week called Self-Made SaaS that is basically how to do like rapid fire, create a SaaS app in Laravel, connect it with Stripe for subscriptions and deploy it out in an environment. And being a developer wanting to create my own solution and do things the hard way instead of just getting a solution off the shelf, I'm like, oh, Well, I wanna start having these on my personal website or my personal course site for myself. So I'm like, I'm gonna go about trying to make something for this. So I'm like, I bet other people would also want this because there's a couple different services out there now that you can use that are like a subscription basis or something like that. But that nothing. I wanted to like ownership of the code that it's running on. So I'm like, oh, is there anything like self-hosted? And there's a couple out there, but they're older, not really maintained that well, or the design isn't that great, or they're not customizable enough. So I'm like, I'm creating my own anyway. Why don't I try to package it up and have it as something that I can sell to other people who want it, or put a version of it that's open source on GitHub. And so that's what I'm doing. I got preliminary designs all figured out for it. I've been tinkering away with it on the weekends here and there, and just see what happens.
I love that. Is it what is? Do you have a name already? I don't.
Yeah. So it's going to be Recourse. I bought the domain. I did the cardinal sin of side projects. I bought the domain as soon as I thought of the idea. And yeah, the stack's going to be it's a full Laravel app. So Laravel, it's going to have a view on the front end and then inertia tied in the two between.
That's awesome. So so when you say buying and selling courses, so I'm thinking like it's going to be like the video platform, basically. Like you're going to be able to upload your videos, move stuff around, and do all that type stuff, and then like you're just going to let Stripe or one of those handle billing. I guess you'll have like adapters for different billing systems.
Yep. I'll have to like initial MVP. I'm working with Stripe and Paddle because that's what's by default like open to Laravel Cashier. Yeah, it's going to be you'd be able to upload your videos if you want to use S3 like Amazon, or you can use Vimeo or Mux. I'm trying out too for like a self-storage for video, and then you can create courses as like put together different videos into like chapters and chapters into a course, and then you can also have like transcriptions, notes, little polls in between each video, that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to keep this scope a little tight, but it's hard because every time that I see that, or I see another video platform has some kind of feature, I'm like, oh, that might be pretty good, that might work. And I'm like, no, keep it. You know what you got to do. Keep it in line first.
Exactly. I mean, I'm just thinking of my own use case. Like there's been times where I'm like, oh, I can put together like a little course, just something simple, just to try out, like, because I've never made a video course on anything. But then I'm like, but then it's like you get into the weeds because you're like, well, I can use whatever Stripe for billing, or I can use Gumroad, or what's I can't think of the other one. It's Yellow. Anyway, they just got bought by Stripe.
Lemon Squeezy.
Lemon Squeezy, yes. But all that, like that doesn't handle like the videos and all the other stuff. And then I'm like, well, then I'm gonna spend like 2 weeks building a website around displaying videos. So I think there's definitely a market there.
Gumroad is what I've used now, and it's good. It does the job, but I think the videos are served at, like, if they stream them, it's served only at full HD. So. But I record them in quad HD, so it's like you have to download it if you want the full resolution, or suffer the downsizing.
Gotcha. Yeah. I would definitely be in the market for once you get this launched. I'll be your first customer. So
awesome. Cool.
I've always dreamed of having little random stuff on Laravel News that would be more of a member thing or something. But it's like everything. There's only so many hours in the day to get everything done. So hiring it out and just having it ready it sounds pretty amazing. So when are you expecting kind of a early alpha launch or beta launch? Or I'm gonna put you on the spot. I don't know if I told you that previously.
That's totally fine. So my goal in mind is to have something available by the end of the year. That would be optimal. Realistically speaking, going through like bugs, having people test it out, maybe first quarter next year sometime. But yeah, I think the next 6 months or so is a pretty pretty good timeline. After Laracon this year, that's basically what I'm trying to focus on the most. Is I'm gonna try to go all in on content creation, either on YouTube or my own platform. And so I need a platform in order to do that. And so it's a motivation to get it done, as opposed to just wanting to do it.
Yes, yes. So you are going to Laracon next week? I think it's next week. Which we're recording the week before Laracon, so this will actually this should come out the Friday after Laracon.
Nice.
So
awesome.
So you can give us any secrets that about Laracon, and it won't be given away until after the event. But what you're really going to have to do is, once you launch this, then you're going to have a hardware product that you sell, which is a receipt printer for your video courses, and then it prints out a receipt every time somebody buys it.
I already had that hooked up to Gumroad for a while to just try it with my latest course pre-launch. My latest course pre-launch, I had hooked that up to that. It got old fast, but it was fun.
So how many courses have you launched already? I know you mentioned 2. Is that the 2 main ones you've got right now?
That's it. Yeah. One from 4 years ago and one now. So it's been slow progressing. Each one has been like insanely valuable for their own reason, though. Like I didn't think my first one would sell at all, or people would be interested in it. That exceeded my expectations. And then this last one, I wasn't expecting basically anybody to pre-order it, and that also exceeded my expectations. So it's been fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been rewarding.
Have you to kind of jump on sort of like a business side? Have you noticed? Because it seems like ebooks and courses, like they spike instantly when you release and launch, and then they just sort of fizzle, and then they just kind of have this like little slow ramp, and they don't sell much anymore after the first few months. Are you noticing that too, or is that more just sort of hit or miss on what type of course you're building? Or
no, that pretty much follows suit. So pre-release launch, spike, huge amount of orders. That's slowly tapered off over time, like you're saying, and then a couple spikes here and there for different reasons. So, a spike because I sent out an email blast to my subscribers, a spike because I posted something about it on Twitter in response to somebody else and it got popular. So stuff like that. And that was true for my first course too. It's like have a huge spike when it came to the release date, taper off after a while, a huge spike because one of the videos that I released on YouTube that's relevant to the course got popular, and the course was linked in the description for it, so that had another small spike because of holidays like Black Friday. I did a New Year's sale, like stuff like that, spikes the sales. But for the most part, it kind of fizzles down into like just a regular cadence, I guess I would say, of people coming in organically, happen to click on links in like my blog or a YouTube video or something like that. It tapers off eventually to like a stable point.
Gotcha. Yeah. It seems pretty common. It's I've sort of been hearing that sort of from everybody that's getting into launching books or courses. It's like boom, instant, and then just it slows down. Well, it's hard to keep marketing something all the time. I think that might be probably the big part of that.
Yeah, you get burned out on a lot of channels also, because it's like you don't want to come off like preachy and self-promoting, but you also want to show people what you have to offer and stuff like that. So it's hard to balance it too. I've tried running paid ads on a couple different platforms, and it's hit and miss. Like I think the best luck that I had when I did it with my first course was LinkedIn, but even then the returns weren't like insanely well. I'm better off trying to hope that something gets viral on Twitter or TikTok or something like that than continuing to pay for them.
That's understandable. Yes. All right. Well, so let's jump into your next one. So I've got a note here. It's because I had to write this down. A Rube Goldberg machine that combines the virtual and physical worlds.
Yeah. So like you were saying earlier, I have my GitHub receipt printer that I built. I have my rotary phone that I built. I'm always, I don't know, something interests me this last year about like finding projects that mix the physical and the digital world, especially if I can find something that's like outdated physical hardware. And so I had an idea a few weeks back about how can I like tie a bunch of these different things together to accomplish some specific goal. And the goal should be something like really, really silly, really, really easy to do, but I wanted to do it in the most extravagant way possible. So what I'm throwing together is basically like, so a Rube Goldberg machine, for those who might not know, is like it's a series of complicated steps in order to accomplish a simple single goal. I think one of the most famous examples is the Pee-wee's Big Adventure with the breakfast scene. There's a whole machine in the kitchen that's making breakfast for him. But anyway, yeah, so I'm planning on doing this with digital stuff, so like API calls, Internet of Thing devices, Raspberry Pis, a main homemade server, and then physical things as well. So without doing too much for a spoiler, I got the phone behind me, a tape answering machine from like the 80s, a dot matrix printer, a webcam, and yeah, I think that's it for right now.
That's amazing, though. That's like it's like it's something you never think about. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna combine all this stuff together, and that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's been like these kind of projects, like it lights something in me that I'm just like I want to build it. You know, it's this is like the core foundation for why I became a programmer. Is like I want to have a ridiculous idea and see it come to life out of nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was it. Was it you that made the handwriting machine too?
No, that was it. That was Aaron Francis.
Oh, okay. I do remember that one too. And I'm like, all you guys are creating just crazy stuff.
Yeah, but it's stuff like that. It's so fun. Like it's just because it's like even if you came into it from like an outside perspective, you weren't somebody who created this. You're like, that is so cool. That is so fun. Like that's wild to even like just have that thought.
Yes. Well, so what would you do with the rotary phone? Just like pick it up and dial and it does stuff, or?
So the goal for it is to get it to ring and then have it go to the answering machine. So it'll be like a functioning phone, but unfortunately it's 2024. I don't have a landline in this house anywhere, I don't think. So I have to rig it to a Raspberry Pi and a separate power supply in order to get the ringer to ring and act like a phone call is incoming. It's I had to learn so much about rotary phones for this project too. Like they're actually like insanely simple to understand the schematics behind it and how they work, but it's getting it to interface with modern hardware. It's a little daunting because there's like 2 blog articles out there that look like they were made in 1997, and that's basically the entire information that I had to go on.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm thinking of like the old days. I don't know if you remember the Andy Griffin show when you would call into Sarah and she'd like put the thing in a different board and then that would connect you to a different phone.
That's a little before my time.
You're not that old. I'm aging myself there. Oh, that's funny. But that's awesome though. So as far as like all the connection code and stuff, can you use PHP for that stuff, or is it got to be something totally different?
Yeah, so
coding-wise?
So I'm using PHP for it. The crazy thing is like, so as much as PHP gets batted at for being the typical like not great language, there's a decent amount of stuff you could do with it in unexpected places. So there is I don't know if it's a firmware to call it, but there's a library for Raspberry Pis that uses PHP to interact with the GPIO pins of a Raspberry Pi. So typically you'd use something like Python to interact with a Raspberry Pi's hardware, but you can use PHP to do this instead. So it's like, why would you use that? What's the purpose of it? And it really has no purpose. There's no better reason why you use PHP over Python to program a Raspberry Pi. But the fact that you can do it, and I know the language, like it makes it exciting. It's usually a language that we reserve for building websites that I can run hardware on it. So I got Raspberry Pis to do that. There is a custom JavaScript runtime for Arduinos. So even like a lower level, if you wanted to write Arduino code as JavaScript, you can. I've tried that a couple times and it's all right. But sorry, there's a loud plane flying overhead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tried using the JavaScript runtime for Arduinos, and it was okay. But for those, I basically have to resign myself to writing C code, which is fun for its own merit. But yeah, it'll have a bunch of like smaller breadboard components put together, and then for the actual like calls, the internet calls for it, it'll be a monolith Laravel application that'll handle various different endpoints, workflows, and pipelines that fire off a sequence of events to do, A, B, and C before sending it out to some other physical device. So it in itself, like this Laravel application, is also kind of like a Rube Goldberg machine. It's part of the mechanisms behind it.
That's awesome. Yes, once you launch all that, so you're gonna have to do a Laracon talk where you just like bring random stuff on stage, and you're like, "What's this?" and you hit a button, and it's like stuff happens over there.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be so fun.
That would make a great talk. Yes, that's awesome. And then the other thing you're working on that I have on my list is a new version of Subvert.dev with support for self-hosted LLMs. Can you give us a little overview on that one?
Yeah. So we're all pretty much sick of hearing about AI at this point, I feel like. But whenever OpenAI came out a couple of years ago, and specifically their Whisper offering, which is the speech to text, I created I kept seeing people have like transcription services for YouTube videos. Like, oh, you can put a YouTube video in here, get you spit out a transcription of the video, and you're good to go. And most of these were paid services, but I'm like, oh, this might be fun to throw together for like a little side project and see what happens, see how this works. So I created this bare bones application that took a video on my local environment and fed it over to extracted the audio, fed it over to Whisper, got back a transcription. And so now I could use that in like my future courses, because out of the box, I don't think Gumroad or a couple of these different platforms don't have auto-generated captioning, and also Whisper's captioning was really good for technical content. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, but if you ever post like a video on YouTube, some of the captions, if you're talking about things like Docker, or even just like PHP in general, if you start talking about like the code, the captions for it are just wildly inaccurate. As it's trying to piece together what you're talking about.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say, I use DaVinci, and it has like auto captions, and every time I do it, it can't understand I'm saying Laravel. It keeps doing like Letterville, and so it's every single time I auto generate, I have to go back through and edit all the captions to get all the right wording. So I understand totally.
Yeah, exactly. But for some reason, I don't know, like if it's the data that they trained this on or what, but it has nailed every technical video I've thrown at it when it comes to like programming languages. Like, it gets the frameworks right, gets the languages right, it even writes some of the code that I'm talking about if I'm talking about like a function or something like that in it. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna use this. And then I thought about adding some more features to it that were relevant for me. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can take this transcript and have it spit out a description on, for a YouTube video, or chapters for YouTube and stuff like that. And so, I put together pipelines that it goes through like a series of steps. It takes your video, extracts the audio, gets a transcript. If you want chapters, it gives you chapters. If you want a description, it gives you description. And then it'll also translate into other languages if you want to do that as well. And I'm like, I'm not going to create a SaaS app out of this and charge for it. Anybody could. I threw this together in a weekend. Why not? So I put it up on GitHub, and it put together a Docker image for people who want to self-host it, and it's gotten a pretty decent reception. It went, I don't want to say viral, but it got a lot of attention from, there's a self-hosting Reddit community, got a ton of attention from people who were really interested in that. But the one feature that I kept being asked for about it was, I want to tie this in with a self-hosted LLM. So it's really, so Whisper itself from OpenAI, you can self-host. That application, or that program is available to download and self-host yourself. And there's also you got Facebook's Llama model and the Ollama service, which you can host locally. That basically creates a local version of ChatGPT in your computer, and there's API endpoints to that. So it's just a matter of connecting to that service instead of one that's remote, but having used the same libraries that I've used before. So it's been on the back burner for the last like year or so to get that added in, get a couple other features added in, and I finally like marked it in my calendar like, hey, I want to sit down and get this out because I don't want to have a project that people are interested and enjoy using and just have it be abandoned. So yeah, that's something else I've been cooking up.
That's awesome. Yes, it's crazy. Just how like it seemed like AI just came out of the blue like 3 or 4 years ago, and then boom, now you can't do anything without hearing about it, using it, being annoyed by it. It's just there for forever now. I think.
Yeah.
But it's improving so fast. I think it's still exciting just because I'm getting more and more use cases now than I think I was back then. So I'm looking forward to what it can do. You brought up a good point. Like when we share our like when we publish new articles, we have basically just Chat GPT like through Zapier, and it'll auto summarize. It'll auto make a tweet, and then I share that out to Threads and all the other services through Buffer. So it's like it goes to, we publish, the RSS feed picks it up, Zapier reads it, summarize it, extracts all the HTML out just to text, and then ChatGPT converts to a tweet, and then that gets sent to Buffer. So to be like, once we get all this like in one step, that's going to be super awesome.
Oh yeah.
But something like that would be great, because then I wouldn't, I could just run my own little social share service through that, and not to have 14 services that I'm paying for right now.
Tie together, yeah, definitely.
Oh, but yeah, that's awesome. So, well, anything else you want to talk about before we conclude the episode? I mean, we've covered all your big projects and all the exciting stuff you're working on.
Yeah, no, I really can't think of anything right now. I have like I got a list of like 2 or 3 dozen different ideas for stuff that I'm planning in the future, and these so when I say ideas, I'm like, oh, I want to create an MVP of like a event ticketing app. So if people want to purchase tickets for something, I want to build that. If people want to manage like a directory of like their city's local food scene, I want to create an app that does that. Like I have all these ideas for different apps that I want to build. And up until this point, they've just been collecting dust in a Notion board, and it's just like, I'll come to them eventually. But moving forward, I've been thinking less and less about how can I create this and have it a fully fledged idea with all the features that I want, and maybe a monetization strategy. And now I'm focusing instead on, I want to show people how they can build applications that do this using open source and readily available software on the internet. So it's like, that's kind of what I'm shifting my focus more toward, is like, all right, I'm going to spend a week getting this application built, and then I'm going to use that to record video or some content for it and show other people out there who want to see how to build a similar application that they can in a pretty straightforward and fast way. So yeah,
I love that. Yeah. So you're basically becoming a teacher instead of well, you're still a developer, but moving more toward a teacher standpoint. I
never realized that I enjoy teaching this much, and it's been eye-opening.
That's awesome. Yes. I one of the other podcasts here I did, we had a conversation about like Laracon, and one thing we would love is to be able to like take a picture of like people and their name tags, and then convert that to like a CRM, and then we could be like, oh yeah, I met all these people at this conference, and because you end up meeting like 1,000 people, and that just seems like something right up your alley, because that's like physical and digital world combined.
Exactly. Yeah. That'd be so fun.
Yes. So Andrew, like, when people want to follow you, is it best, like, what are you most active on right now? Twitter and YouTube, or?
Twitter, YouTube. I'm trying to get on Threads a little bit. LinkedIn, I have a profile for, but I don't post as much as I probably should. GitHub, if you want to follow me there, projects that I'm releasing and that I'm working on. Everything is under the exact same username, so it's a Schmelyun. If you follow me on one platform, you can use that same username across any of them.
Love that. And we'll definitely have links to all this stuff in the show notes and links over to all your stuff, so that way everybody can find you and start learning about rotary phones and other stuff. But I want to thank you for coming on and taking time out of your morning to talk with us here. I think it was a lot of fun. I know we were talking before we started recording. You said you've been doing a lot of one-on-ones, and so to me, I know we're just sort of kind of randomly talking, but how have you been finding like one-on-one with other people? Is that pretty fun and engaging, or?
It has been an absolute blast. So I got started on this because of Ben Holman on Twitter. He started his whole pair amid scheme. So it was just reaching out to folks that you follow or just find interesting and want to chat with, and saying, hey, do you want to pair program sometimes? I got this difficult, problem I'd love a second pair of eyes on, or just I want to see what you're working on and I want to chat. And so I started doing that. I opened up a calendar and threw it up on Twitter. I've reached out to a couple people that I admire in the space, and I'm like, hey, do you want to talk? I just want to see kind of like what you're working on, what you're about. And everyone so far has been insanely receptive. Like it's super welcoming, and it's been so fun and eye-opening. So I've had amazing conversations with like a dozen people at this point so far. A lot of them in the Laravel space, but some not. Some in the JavaScript space. Some who weren't really in the development space at all, and they're just happening to build their own thing in Laravel because it was what was easily available and had the most traction. And so yeah, it's been super fun. It's been exciting. I'm gonna continue doing it too.
Love that. So does his app? Actually, I need to put him down to talk to him about it anyway. I totally forgot about that pair app. I guess it handles the scheduling, or you just that just helps you like find people.
No, so yeah,
interested.
I don't think he has an application for it. It's just like a concept, I guess you'd say, like I don't want to say a mindset, but yeah, you put this concept out there that like if you want to chat with somebody, if you want to pair program with somebody, make a publicly available calendar link, stick it on your socials, and just see what happens, see what comes out of it. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is pretty sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find out more about this. This is kind of random and off topic, but it's like now that I'm like running Laravel News, it's like my time to actually be a programmer is so less now than it's ever been in my life. It's like I can't find. All I'm doing is answering emails and calls. It's like you can't. There's no time to program. I gotta start doing better on my calendar. But Andrew, I wanted to thank you for coming on board, talking with us today. This was a lot of fun, and we will go ahead and conclude it here. But thank you again, man.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.